one day, one concept idea. I told you about the overview of the sustainable investment fund. So we looked at the criteria. So what are we going to be looking at today? We're going to be looking at the performance of sustainable funds compared to traditional fund. Yeah, this is what we are doing. So let's go for that. So the first aspect we're going to be looking at, it's obviously the financial performance comparison, right? If we talk about funds, we talk about money. If we talk about money, you want to look at, okay, how well do you compare that? What are the returns? Yeah. So you definitely want to analyze those sustainable fund return compared to those of traditional funds, yeah, over the short term but also long term period. And what I could say is actually is yes, the traditional fund would be in comparison to sustainable fund a lot more aggressive. Yes, that's what you should expect, right? Because you're looking for the returns. That's most of the time one of the main objective, is very strong there. People are putting money into your fund. I want to see what is my return compared to somebody else. Yeah. So is that 2x, 3x, whatever over a period of time? This is what you're looking at for sustainable funds. So what they usually compare themselves against, or maybe where they distinguish themselves compared to others, is the fact that they will be looking more at the long-term scenario, the long-term return. This is where you actually really will see them. So, and they don't necessarily refer as well as the other. So they're not that far. That's actually what is quite interesting, right? Because although we talk about sustainable investment funds in here, the returns are not that far. It's something even better. Why? Because obviously, a lot of investment these days just makes sense to go sustainably, just looking at the issue of climate change. Yeah. So that's one aspect. You also want to be looking at the risk and volatility. That's another part. You want to evaluate the risk profile of sustainable funds compared to traditional funds. So, especially in relation to the market volatility. So, if you want to compare those two type of fund, traditional sustainable fund, you want to look at the risk profile because investment, it's all about mitigating your risk. Yeah, at the end of the day, because you putting money, you betting that it's going to go well. So what are the risks now that things don't work out in your favor? That's what you want to look at. Yeah. So what is how does it happen for sustainable development funds? Again, I'm not an expert in financial world, but from what I know, they not actually struggling particularly compared to the traditional fund. Yeah, especially because I say investment these days, it just makes sense to go the sustainable way just because of everything that's happening and the way as what society is putting forward. Yeah. So another one would be looking at the investor demand and also the fund flows. Yeah, so that is another aspect that you want to be looking at when you're looking to compare the two performances. And what is the trend for investor demand in sustainable fund is very high at the moment, very very high, because you could see that we talked about energy transition, energy transition using a lot of renewables energy, making sure so that you can respect ESG principle. There's a lot you can see. There's a lot of talk about it to the point that a lot of it, some people are suspecting is greenwashing, but clearly there is a strong demand for sustainable funds. Yeah, so that is not an issue at the moment for investing. In fact, the struggle is even finding the right project that meet those objectives. Yeah, so that is what people will see, and the fund flows, they also doing well compared to traditional. And what is the impact of economic cycle? That's another thing we're looking at, compared to traditional funds. So during the different economic cycle, including the recessions, how are those funds compared to traditional? And also the future financial outlook. So predicting the future financial trend for sustainable funds based on current market and investment behavior, that's one thing you want to be looking at. But if you know one thing, looking at just the way the world is going, sustainable investment fund will just become bigger and bigger, bigger and bigger. And also that is the direction of travel. So the future actually looking bright, looking good. Yes, there could be some dip at times, but overall, looking at long-term scenario, I think definitely there is um there is a great opportunity ahead for people decided to go this way. That's what I had to say for today for this video. Again, just leave me a comment in the yeah, leave me a comment below. So let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you prefer sustainable funds, not sustainable funds. So where you're sitting, and if you're an investor, you want to invest into projects, reach out to us because we have the Lend for Good opportunity that may just be suitable for what you're looking for. Take care. Bye bye.